Hey there, awesome humans! Ever feel like life's just this giant, chaotic game of Jenga, and you're constantly trying to pull out the right block without everything tumbling down? Or maybe it's more like trying to catch existential spaghetti at the wall with a fork. Yeah, I hear ya. We all do. We're all in this wild ride together, aren't we? And how many times have you scrolled through social media, seeing everyone else living their best life? All sunshine, rainbows, and perfectly filtered avocado toast, while you're just over here, wondering if you left the stove on, and if that weird feeling in your gut is enlightenment or just last night's questionable leftover pizza. Well, what if I told you there's an ancient, super cool, surprisingly practical philosophy that doesn't involve robes, chanting, or giving up your Wi-Fi? A path not just for the toga-wearing philosophers of old, but for you, right here, right now, in your perfectly imperfect modern life. We're talking about a path that helps you build that inner fortress of calm, no matter how many existential spaghetti strands fly your way. No, it's not a magic pill. And spoiler alert, it won't make your boss stop sending emails at 9 p.m. But it will equip you with the mental superpowers to deal with it all, gracefully, resiliently, and maybe even with a chuckle or two. Get ready, because today, we're not just chatting. We're embarking on a journey to uncover 8 simple principles for a meaningful life, drawing heavily from the surprisingly hip wisdom of Stoicism. This isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about becoming a smarter, stronger, more serene you. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Let's dive in. The pursuit of a meaningful life. Beyond the buzzwords. So, what exactly is a meaningful life? Is it about having 1 million followers on Instagram, driving a fancy car, living on a beach somewhere, sipping coconut water and pretending you're not checking your phone every 5 seconds? Nope, not really. While those things might be nice for a fleeting moment, they don't quite hit the core of meaning, do they? A meaningful life isn't just about fleeting happiness or endless smiles. Honestly, that sounds exhausting, and frankly, a little suspicious. Nobody's that happy all the time. A meaningful life is about something deeper. It's about purpose. It's about feeling like your existence has a point, a direction, even if that point isn't always crystal clear. It's about connection, to yourself, to others, to something larger than your own immediate desires. It's about growth, the continuous journey of becoming a better, wiser, more resilient version of yourself, even when you stumble. Which, let's be real, you totally will. Because that's part of the fun, or at least, that's what we tell ourselves. Think about it. Have you ever felt that gnawing emptiness? That sense of, is this all there is? Even when everything on paper looks fine. That's your soul politely, or sometimes not so politely, tapping you on the shoulder, whispering, "Hey buddy, we need a little more substance here." That's why pursuing a meaningful life is so incredibly important. It's the antidote to apathy, the balm for anxiety, and the compass that helps us navigate the bewildering storms of modern existence. Without it, we're just adrift, reacting to whatever comes our way, like a leaf caught in a strong breeze. And who wants to be a leaf? No offense to leaves, but we're capable of so much more. But here's the kicker. How do we actually find it? Is it hidden in a secret mountain monastery? Do you have to meditate for 10 hours a day until your legs fall asleep? Do you need to buy a specific self-help book with a shiny cover and an inspirational quote? Thankfully, no. Finding meaning isn't about some grand, sweeping gesture or a magical discovery. It's a practice, a way of looking at the world, a series of small, intentional choices we make every single day. It's less about finding something external and more about building something internal. And that, my friends, is where our ancient pals, the Stoics, waltz in. Stoicism, ancient wisdom for modern life and your sanity. All right, let's talk about Stoicism. Now, before you picture a bunch of grumpy old guys in robes sitting around not smiling, let's clear the air. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your emotions, becoming a robot, or having the emotional range of a teaspoon. That's a common misconception, probably fueled by Hollywood movies, where the Stoic character is always the one who stares blankly and never cracks a joke. In reality, Stoicism is a practical philosophy of life that originated in ancient Greece and flourished in Rome. It was founded by Zeno of Citium around 300 BC. And get this, its followers, like the philosopher and playwright Seneca, the former slave Epictetus, and even the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, weren't just thinkers. They were people deeply immersed in the chaotic, messy reality of everyday life. They dealt with heartbreak, political intrigue, illness, betrayal, and all the general shenanigans that come with being human. Sound familiar? Exactly. So, what's the big idea? At its core, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. It's about living in accordance with reason and virtue, and finding inner tranquility regardless of external circumstances. It's about understanding the nature of reality, accepting it, and then responding to it wisely. Think of it this way. Imagine life is a video game. Most of us spend all our energy trying to control the weather in the game, or what other players say about our avatar, or if we get a perfect score every single time. But the Stoics say, hold up, you can't control those things. What you can control are your own actions, your own judgments, your own effort, and how you react to everything. That's your character, your inventory, your skill tree. Level those up. The key principles of Stoicism, which we'll dive deeper into with our 8 principles, revolve around this central idea. They include things like the dichotomy of control, our ability to control only our judgments, desires, and actions, not external events. The importance of virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance, and the practice of self-reflection. It's a philosophy that says, life's gonna throw curveballs. You can't stop the curveball, but you can learn how to swing, how to dodge, and how to enjoy the game even when you strike out. How can Stoicism help us live a meaningful life? Well, by giving us a mental toolkit, a set of strategies to reduce anxiety, by distinguishing what's in our power from what isn't, increase resilience, by embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, cultivate inner peace, by focusing on our character and values rather than external approval or possessions. Find purpose by aligning our actions with virtue and reason and contributing to the greater good. It's not about being a rigid, unemotional stick in the mud. It's about being robust, flexible, and grounded in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs. It's about being like a wise old tree that can bend in the wind without breaking, rather than a brittle twig that snaps at the first gust. Sounds pretty good, right? So, let's get into the nitty-gritty with our first principle. Principle number 1, accept what you can't control and chill out about it. All right, buckle up because this first principle is an absolute game changer. It's probably the most fundamental Stoic concept, and once it clicks, it's like someone just dimmed the existential overhead lighting and played some calming jazz. It's all about the dichotomy of control, understanding that some things are within our control, and most things are absolutely, unequivocally, defiantly not. Think about it. The weather. You know you can't control whether it rains or shines. You can do a sun dance, a rain dance, or whatever dance you like. But Mother Nature is gonna do her thing. Traffic? You can leave early, but you can't control every single driver on the road suddenly deciding they need to experience the joy of rush hour. What about other people's opinions of you? Ooh, this is a big one. You can try to be nice, charming, funny, and impeccably dressed, but someone, somewhere, is still going to think you're weird for putting pineapple on pizza, which, by the way, is delicious. Fight me. The Stoics tell us, with a knowing wink, that we waste so much energy, so much precious mental real estate, trying to strong-arm the universe into cooperating with our precise plans. We fume about things we literally cannot change. We stew over criticisms from people whose opinions shouldn't even register on our radar. It's like trying to win an arm wrestling match against a black hole. You just can't. And honestly, trying is just exhausting, and frankly, a bit ridiculous. My cosmic arm wrestling record, for the record, is 0 for infinity. Don't be like me. So, the power move here is to focus relentlessly on what's within your control. What is that, you ask? Well, it's your judgments about events, your desires, what you choose to want, your aversions, what you choose to fear, and your actions, what you choose to do. That's it. Everything else is external. Your job performance, you can control your effort. The promotion, external. Your attitude towards a difficult situation, within your control. The difficult situation itself, often external. Let's say you're stuck in soul-crushing traffic. You can honk, scream, text furious messages to your significant other about the injustice of it all. Or you can take a deep breath, put on a podcast, like this one perhaps, and accept that this is simply reality right now. You can't control the traffic, but you can control your reaction to it. Which version of you do you want to be? The one who arrives at their destination with steam coming out of their ears? Or the one who arrives a little later, but with their inner peace intact? I know which one I'd rather be. I mean, nobody wants to arrive looking like they've wrestled a bear and lost. This principle also ties into the idea of embracing the present moment. When you're constantly fighting against what is, you're missing out on what is. You're stuck in a past you can't change or a future you can't guarantee. The present moment is the only place you truly exist, the only place you have any real power. So, when life serves you a moment, be in it. Whether it's doing the dishes, waiting in line, or having a challenging conversation, be fully there. Notice the details, acknowledge the feelings, and respond intentionally. It's like being a mindful ninja, observing everything, but only acting where it makes sense. And finally, to truly lean into accepting what you can't control, we must practice gratitude. This isn't just about saying thank you, or writing lists of things you're grateful for, though those are great starts. It's about cultivating a feeling of appreciation for what you do have, for what is going well, for the simple, often overlooked blessings in your life. It's a powerful antidote to dwelling on what's missing or what's wrong. Did you wake up in a warm bed? That's something. Did your coffee machine actually work today? Small win. Do you have decent Wi-Fi? Folks, in this day and age, that's practically a superpower. It's about shifting your focus from the external chaos to the internal calm, fueled by appreciation. When you can genuinely appreciate the present moment, even the messy bits, and understand what's truly within your sphere of influence, you stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the pilot of your inner world. And that, my friends, is where true empowerment begins. Principle number 2, cultivate virtue. Be a good egg, basically. Now, this one might sound a little old school. Virtue? What is this, ancient Roman finishing school? But hear me out, because cultivating virtue isn't about being stuffy or holier than thou. It's about being a genuinely good human being, operating from a place of integrity and making choices that align with the best version of yourself. For Stoics, virtue wasn't just a nice-to-have, it was the only true good. Everything else, wealth, fame, health, was considered indifferent, meaning it could be used for good or ill, and wasn't inherently virtuous itself. The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues, the Fab Four of awesomeness, if you will: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Let's break them down, because these aren't just fancy words. They're your personal toolkit for being a magnificent human. First up, wisdom. This isn't just about being book smart or knowing a ton of facts. Wisdom, in the Stoic sense, is the practical knowledge of what is truly good, what is truly bad, and what is indifferent. It's about knowing how to navigate life's messy situations with reason and clear judgment. It's the ability to distinguish between what really matters and what's just noise. For example, is it wise to spend hours scrolling through social media comparing your life to perfectly curated online personas? Or is it wiser to spend that time cultivating real-life connections or working on a personal project? A wise person knows the difference. They understand that true happiness doesn't come from external validation, but from internal alignment. It's about making smart choices, not just for short-term gain, but for long-term well-being and a life well lived. It's like having a super-powered internal GPS that always guides you towards your best self. Next, we have justice. This is about treating others fairly, honestly, and kindly. It's about acting with integrity in all your dealings, whether it's with your family, your colleagues, or the person serving you coffee. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness as human beings and understanding that our well-being is tied to the well-being of others. This doesn't mean being a doormat, by the way. Justice also involves standing up for what's right, speaking truth to power, and advocating for those who might not have a voice. It's about giving people their due, acknowledging their humanity, and contributing positively to the community. Think about it. When you act justly, you not only make the world a better place, but you also build self-respect and cultivate a sense of inner harmony. It's a win-win, really. Then there's courage. And no, we're not talking about leaping off buildings or wrestling alligators, unless you're into that. Then go for it, I guess. Stoic courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to do what is right, even when it's difficult, uncomfortable, or scary. It's the courage to have that tough conversation you've been avoiding. It's the courage to pursue a dream that might not work out. It's the courage to be vulnerable, to admit when you're wrong, or to stand firm in your values when everyone else is caving to pressure. It's also the courage to face adversity with a strong mind, to endure hardship, and to persevere when the going gets tough. Life will inevitably present challenges. Courage is the virtue that helps you face them head on, not just survive them, but truly grow through them. And finally, my favorite, temperance, or as I like to call it, the don't be extra virtue. Temperance is all about self-control, moderation, and discipline. It's about knowing when enough is enough, whether it's food, drink, screen time, or even complaining. It's the ability to resist impulsive urges and to make thoughtful, deliberate choices. This isn't about deprivation or being boring. It's about being the master of your desires, not their slave. It's about not letting your appetites or passions run wild and dictate your actions. For example, temperance means you might enjoy a delicious dessert, but you don't eat the whole cake. It means you can have a strong opinion, but you express it respectfully. It means you can enjoy entertainment, but you don't let it consume all your time. It's about finding that sweet spot, that balance that allows you to enjoy life's pleasures without them controlling you. Because let's be real, nobody wants to wake up in a meme for their poor life choices at 3 a.m. Cultivating temperance helps you avoid those kinds of moments and live a more composed, intentional life. So, when you actively practice these 4 virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, you're not just being a good person in a vague sense. You're building an internal compass, a solid foundation for a meaningful life. You're aligning your actions with your highest self, and that, my friends, is a powerful, deeply satisfying way to live. Principle number 3. Focus on your values, your inner North Star. All right, moving on to our third principle, and this one is crucial for navigating the choppy waters of modern life. Focus on your values. If the virtues are your moral compass, your values are your North Star. They guide you even when things get foggy. In a world constantly screaming at you about what you should want, what you should buy, and who you should be, it's incredibly easy to lose sight of what truly matters to you. Social media parades highlight reels of other people's perceived successes. Ads bombard you with messages that happiness is just one purchase away, and societal pressures often push you towards conventional paths, even if they don't resonate with your soul. It's like trying to find your way through a funhouse mirror maze. Everything's distorted, and you might accidentally follow a reflection that isn't even yours. So, the first step here is to identify what truly matters to you. This isn't a one-time exercise, it's an ongoing conversation with yourself. What do you stand for? What principles are non-negotiable for you? Is it integrity, family, creativity, freedom, contribution, learning, adventure, authenticity? Grab a pen and paper or open a note on your phone and seriously reflect. What makes you feel alive? What would you fight for? What kind of legacy do you want to leave, however small? These are your core values. For example, if one of your core values is authenticity, then constantly pretending to be someone you're not on social media or biting your tongue in a conversation just to be liked is going to feel utterly soul-draining. If family is a core value, then constantly prioritizing work over spending quality time with your loved ones will lead to regret, no matter how much money you make. Once you've identified your values, the real magic happens. You start to live in accordance with them. This means making conscious choices, big and small, that align with what you've identified as important. It's about congruence. If you value health, you're more likely to prioritize nutritious food and exercise, even when you're tired. If you value learning, you'll make time to read, take courses, or explore new subjects, even if it means sacrificing some Netflix time. It's not about being perfect, but about consistently trying to bridge the gap between who you say you are and who you actually are through your actions. This might sound simple, but it requires conscious effort, especially when the world is constantly trying to nudge you off course. Which brings us to the third crucial point. Don't let external pressures sway you. This is where Stoicism really shines. The Stoics understood the immense power of external opinion and societal expectations. They taught us to build an inner citadel, a fortress of self-worth and conviction that cannot be breached by the fickle winds of public approval or disapproval. Think about the latest trend. Maybe it's a new diet that promises miracles but makes you miserable. Maybe it's a career path that promises prestige but drains your soul. Maybe it's the pressure to constantly be on and available. If these things don't align with your values, then cultivating the courage to say no or to walk your own path is essential. Your values aren't a fashion trend. They're the bedrock of your soul. Don't let TikTok tell you otherwise. Living according to your values gives you a profound sense of peace and purpose. When your actions are congruent with your deepest beliefs, you feel integrated, whole, and genuinely proud of the person you're becoming. It removes that nagging feeling of being pulled in a million different directions by external forces. You become the author of your own story, not just a character in someone else's screenplay. So, take the time, get clear on what truly matters to you, and then, my friend, live it out loud. Your meaningful life depends on it. Principle number 4. Embrace challenges, because growth isn't always comfy. All right, let's talk about the bumpy bits of life, shall we? Because let's be real, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's more like a leaky roof during a hurricane. And that's where our 4th principle comes in. Embrace challenges. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Embrace challenges. Are you nuts? I spend half my day trying to avoid challenges. And yes, our natural inclination is to seek comfort, to minimize struggle. But the Stoics, those clever old foxes, had a different take. They saw challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. In fact, they believed that growth only happens when we're pushed outside our comfort zones. Think about it like going to the gym. Do your muscles grow when you're just sitting on the couch, binge-watching reality TV? No judgment. We all do it. No. They grow when you lift weights, when you push yourself, when you feel that satisfying burn. Life's challenges are like the resistance training for your mind and character. They're the cosmic gym equipment, designed to make you stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Consider this. You lose your job. Ouch, that's a huge challenge. Your initial reaction might be panic, anger, despair. Perfectly natural. But a Stoic approach would encourage you to view this not just as a catastrophe, but as a potential pivot point. Could this setback be an opportunity to explore a different career path you've always dreamed of? To start your own thing? To learn new skills? Many incredible success stories started with what seemed like a devastating failure. It's about reframing the obstacle as the way, as Epictetus famously put it. The obstacle isn't blocking your path, it is your path to becoming stronger. This leads us to the critical art of learning from setbacks. Nobody likes to fail. It stings. It can feel embarrassing. But if you're not learning from your stumbles, then what's the point? A setback isn't a dead end. It's a feedback loop. It's life's way of saying, okay, that didn't work. Now, what did you learn from it? How can you adapt? What will you do differently next time? Don't dwell on the failure itself, but rather on the lessons it offers. Analyze, don't agonize. Adapt, don't abandon. And then, bravely, move forward. This continuous process of facing challenges and learning from setbacks is how you build resilience. Resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about how quickly and effectively you get back up. It's the mental and emotional bounce-back factor. How do you build it? You don't build resilience by avoiding difficult situations. You build it by navigating them. You build it by voluntarily stepping into discomfort, by problem-solving, by enduring. Think about it. If you always choose the easy path, you remain soft, unprepared for when life inevitably throws a curveball you can't avoid. But if you embrace challenges, whether it's taking on a difficult project, starting a new hobby that scares you, or even just doing something slightly uncomfortable like a cold shower every morning, don't knock it till you try it. You're actively strengthening your mental and emotional muscles. You're training yourself to be comfortable with discomfort, to see difficulty as a normal part of the process, and to trust in your own ability to overcome. So, the next time a challenge rears its head, instead of groaning and wishing it away, try a different approach. Take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? How can I grow from this? What can I control in this situation to navigate it effectively? Life isn't about avoiding the rain. It's about learning to do an epic puddle jump, and maybe even enjoying the splash. Embrace those challenges, my friends, because they're not just tests. They're the architects of your strength and the sculptors of your most meaningful self. Principle number 5. Practice self-awareness. Know thyself, but like for real. All right, we're halfway there, and this next principle is like looking in a really honest mirror, but for your mind. Practice self-awareness and self-reflection. You know that old saying, know thyself? Well, the Stoics were all about it. They knew that if you don't understand what's going on inside your own head, you're pretty much flying blind through life. And let's be honest, that usually ends with you crashing into a wall. Figuratively, of course. Hopefully. Self-awareness isn't just about knowing if you prefer coffee over tea, though that's a good start. It's about deeply understanding your thoughts, your emotions, your biases, your triggers, your strengths, and your weaknesses. It's about being an observer of your inner world, rather than just being swept away by its currents. We often operate on autopilot, reacting to situations based on old patterns, unexamined beliefs, or unchecked emotions. When you're self-aware, you get to choose your response rather than just reacting like a startled cat. Think of your mind like a really busy airport. Thoughts are constantly arriving and departing. Emotions are like passengers rushing to their gates. If you're not self-aware, you're just trying to board every single flight, even the ones going to Panicville or Grumpy Town. But with self-awareness, you become the air traffic controller. You observe the flights. You decide which ones you'll let land, which ones you'll let pass through, and which ones you definitely don't want to board. You don't have to follow every thought, and you don't have to succumb to every emotion. You can simply acknowledge them and then choose your next move. So, how do you actually do this self-awareness thing? One of the most powerful tools, beloved by Stoics and modern thinkers alike, is journaling. And no, you don't need a fancy leather-bound book or a quill pen. A simple notebook, a digital document, anything works. Just write. Write about your day, your feelings, your reactions to events. Ask yourself tough questions. Why did I react that way? What was I trying to achieve? What belief is driving this feeling? Morning pages can help you dump out all the mental clutter, and evening reflections can help you review your day through a Stoic lens. What went well? What could I have done better? Where did I act virtuously, and where did I fall short? It's a powerful way to bring your unconscious thoughts into the light, to identify patterns, and to chart your growth. Another fantastic practice is meditation and mindfulness. This isn't about emptying your mind or achieving some cosmic bliss, though those are cool too. It's about simply observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, just noticing them as they arise, like clouds floating by in the sky. When you do this regularly, you create a little space between the stimulus and your response. That tiny space is where your freedom lies. It's where you get to choose whether to react impulsively or respond thoughtfully. It's like pressing pause in a chaotic movie scene so you can decide your next line. By consistently practicing self-awareness, you gain incredible clarity. You start to understand your authentic motivations, not just the ones you tell yourself or others. You uncover your true needs, not just the ones society tries to impose. You become a master of your inner domain, rather than a prisoner of your own unexamined habits and reactions. And when you know yourself, truly, deeply, then you can truly begin to direct your life with intention, living in alignment with your values, and cultivating a life that's uniquely, authentically, and meaningfully yours. Principle number 6. Live in accordance with nature and your inner rational superhero. Okay, this next one, live in accordance with nature, might sound a little woo-woo, or like you need to go hug a tree, which, by the way, isn't a bad idea. Trees are cool. But in Stoic philosophy, nature isn't just about the natural world outside your window. It's about the fundamental order of the universe, and more specifically, about human nature, our unique capacity for reason. See, the Stoics believed that as humans, our highest good, our true purpose, lies in using our rationality, our ability to think logically and make reasoned judgments. Unlike animals, who act on instinct and impulse, we have the power to deliberate, to choose, and to act in ways that are consistent with virtue. So, living in accordance with nature means living in accordance with your most rational, most virtuous self. It's about letting reason, not raw emotion or fleeting desires, guide your actions. Think of your mind as having two parts: the impulsive, emotional part that wants to eat all the cookies and snap at your coworker, and the rational, discerning part that knows better. Living in accordance with nature is like giving the rational part the microphone and maybe a little megaphone so it can lead the show. It's about aligning your inner world with external reality, accepting things as they are, and then responding from a place of considered wisdom. This also means understanding your place in the grand scheme of things. We are all part of a larger whole, a community, humanity, the universe itself. Living in accordance with nature means recognizing our interconnectedness. It's not just about me, it's about us. We are social beings, wired for cooperation and mutual support. So, acting selfishly, being petty, or trying to accumulate endless wealth purely for personal gain goes against our fundamental nature, and the Stoics would argue, leads to a less meaningful life. When you act for the common good, when you contribute to your community, when you treat others with respect and justice, you're living in harmony with your true nature. It's like being a well-tuned instrument in a magnificent orchestra, rather than a rogue kazoo player doing your own thing. Furthermore, living in accordance with nature means accepting the impermanence of things. Change is the only constant, right? Everything that begins, ends. People come and go. Possessions break or fade. Our own lives have a beginning and an end. Trying to cling to things, or resisting the natural flow of change, just creates suffering. Living in accordance with nature means understanding this fundamental truth and developing a healthy detachment from things that are by their very nature temporary. It's like watching leaves fall in autumn. You appreciate their beauty, but you understand it's part of the cycle. You don't try to superglue them back onto the branch. This principle isn't about being passive or resigned. It's about being actively engaged with reality as it is, using your reason to navigate it, and acting in ways that benefit not just yourself, but the larger human family. When you live in accordance with nature, you stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it, making your actions more effective, more peaceful, and ultimately, far more meaningful. It's about becoming your most rational, most connected, and most authentic self. It's like finally finding the instruction manual for being a human. Principle number 7. Practice discomfort, your secret weapon for inner toughness. Okay, this principle might sound a little unpleasant at first, but trust me, it's a powerful one. It's all about practicing discomfort, and it's a Stoic secret weapon for building serious inner toughness and cultivating appreciation. No, I'm not telling you to start sleeping on a bed of nails. Unless that's your thing, no judgment. The idea here is not to suffer unnecessarily, but to voluntarily expose yourself to small, controlled doses of discomfort. Why? Because we live in a world that's increasingly designed for maximum comfort. Everything is optimized to make our lives easier, warmer, softer, and more convenient. While that sounds lovely on paper, it often leaves us mentally and emotionally soft. We become brittle twigs that snap at the first unexpected gust of wind. So, the Stoics advocated for voluntary hardship. This isn't about being a masochist. It's about building resilience, appreciating what you have, and proving to yourself that you can handle a little discomfort. Think about it. A cold shower in the morning. Bracing, right? But after a minute or two, you realize it's not actually going to kill you. In fact, you feel invigorated. You've just deliberately put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and emerged victorious. That builds confidence. Or maybe walking instead of driving for a short errand, even if it's chilly outside. Or fasting for a few hours. These are small, manageable challenges that train your mind to say, "Hey, I can handle this. I'm tougher than I thought." It's like strength training for your mental fortitude. Another brilliant Stoic technique that falls under this umbrella is negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. Again, it sounds morbid, but it's actually incredibly liberating. The practice involves regularly contemplating the loss of things you hold dear, your health, your possessions, your loved ones, even your own life. Now, before you start hyperventilating, the point isn't to dwell in negativity or become a pessimist. The point is to do two things. 1. Cultivate appreciation. When you imagine losing your phone or your car or the ability to walk, and then you open your eyes and realize you still have them, a profound sense of gratitude washes over you. You stop taking these things for granted. That warm cup of coffee suddenly tastes like liquid gold. That quiet moment with your loved one feels like a priceless treasure. It puts things into perspective and makes you appreciate the present moment more deeply. Imagine your phone is gone, forever. How does that feel? Now, pick it up and appreciate it. 2. Reduce fear of loss. By regularly contemplating what could happen, you diminish its power over you. The fear of losing something often causes more suffering than the actual loss itself. By thinking about it beforehand, you mentally prepare. If something bad does happen, you're not blindsided. You've already, in a way, processed some of the shock. You've mentally rehearsed how you might respond. It's like doing a fire drill for your emotions. You hope you never need it, but you're prepared if you do. This practice isn't about being fatalistic. It's about being realistic and proactive. Life will throw curveballs, things will break, people will leave. By mentally preparing for the worst, you learn to appreciate the best, and you build a robust, resilient mindset that can handle whatever comes your way. It frees you from anxiety about what might happen and allows you to truly cherish what you have right now. So, go ahead, try a little discomfort. It might just be your new superpower for a truly meaningful life. Principle number 8. Contribute to the greater good. Because it's not just about you, Bob. All right, last but certainly not least, we arrive at our 8th and final principle for a meaningful life. Contribute to the greater good. If the previous principles have been about mastering your inner world, this one is about extending that mastery outwards, recognizing that true meaning often blossoms when we serve something larger than ourselves. The Stoics were clear. Humans are social creatures. We're not meant to be isolated islands. Our very nature is to connect, to cooperate, and to contribute. Think about a functioning society. It relies on people playing their part, helping each other, and working towards common goals. It's like a giant, intricate puzzle, and you're an essential piece. Trying to live a purely self-serving life focused solely on your own pleasures or accumulation, goes against this fundamental human wiring. And frankly, it often leads to a pretty hollow existence. Remember that feeling of emptiness we talked about earlier? That often happens when we're disconnected from a larger purpose. So, how do we contribute to the greater good? It doesn't mean you have to quit your job and go save the whales, unless, again, that's your calling. Then rock on. It starts with simple acts of kindness, holding a door open, offering a genuine compliment, listening actively to a friend in need, letting someone go ahead of you in line. These small gestures ripple outwards, creating a more positive, connected world. Think of it like throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples spread far beyond where the pebble initially landed. Beyond that, consider volunteering your time or skills, whether it's at a local food bank, mentoring someone, or sharing your expertise for a good cause. Giving your time and energy without expectation of direct reward is incredibly powerful. It shifts your focus from "what can I get?" to "what can I give?" And paradoxically, when you give, you often receive far more in terms of fulfillment, connection, and a sense of purpose. It also involves recognizing your duty and responsibility within your various communities, your family, your workplace, your neighborhood, your city, humanity as a whole. What's your role? How can you show up more fully and effectively? This isn't about obligation in a negative sense, but about embracing the privilege of being a part of something bigger and playing your part with excellence and integrity. If you're a parent, your duty is to raise kind, responsible children. If you're an employee, your duty is to perform your job well and contribute positively to your team. These are everyday acts of contribution. The joy of giving, of truly contributing to the well-being of others, is a unique and profound source of meaning. It takes you out of your own head, out of self-absorption, and connects you to the vast, rich tapestry of human experience. When you see the positive impact of your actions, big or small, it validates your existence in a way that material possessions or fleeting pleasures simply cannot. It's not just about me, it's about we. It's about building a better world. One kind act, one selfless contribution, one reasoned decision at a time. And frankly, that's a legacy worth building. Finding meaning in everyday life. The journey never ends. Thank goodness. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From wrestling existential spaghetti to befriending cold showers, we've explored 8 simple, yet profoundly powerful principles for a meaningful life, all rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Let's do a quick recap of our magnificent 8. 1. Accept what you can't control. Focus your energy where it truly matters, on your judgments and actions, and let go of the rest. 2. Cultivate virtue. Strive for wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance in all your dealings. Be a genuinely good human. 3. Focus on your values. Identify what truly matters to you, and align your life with those core principles, resisting external pressures. 4. Embrace challenges. See obstacles not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth, learning, and building resilience. 5. Practice self-awareness. Understand your inner landscape, your thoughts, emotions, and biases, to respond intentionally, not react impulsively. 6. Live in accordance with nature. Use your reason, accept the impermanence of things, and recognize your interconnectedness with humanity. 7. Practice discomfort. Voluntarily expose yourself to small hardships and negative visualization to build inner toughness and appreciation. 8. Contribute to the greater good. Find meaning and purpose in serving others and playing your part in the human community. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great, but how do I actually integrate Stoicism into my daily life without turning into a philosophy textbook on legs? And the answer is small steps, consistent practice, and a whole lot of patience with yourself. This isn't about becoming a perfect Stoic overnight. It's not a destination you arrive at, check off a box, and then boom, you're done. No, my friends, the journey is ongoing. It's about making micro changes, daily choices, and conscious efforts to apply these principles. Start small. Maybe for a week, you focus just on principle number 1. Every time you get frustrated about something outside your control, you take a deep breath and remind yourself, is this in my control? No? Okay, let it go. Or maybe you try a small act of kindness every day for a week. Or you start a simple gratitude journal. The key is consistency, not intensity. A tiny, consistent effort over time yields massive results, like drops of water eventually carving through stone. There will be days when you forget, days when you totally blow it, days when you act impulsively, react emotionally, and feel utterly unstoic. And that's okay. That's being human. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about getting back up, dusting yourself off, learning from the stumble, and trying again. The Stoics themselves weren't perfect. They were practitioners, just like us. They understood that life is a continuous school, and we're all perpetually learning. So, go forth, my fellow meaning seekers. Arm yourself with these timeless principles. Don't just listen to them. Live them. Experiment with them. See how they transform your perspective, how they empower you to face life's inevitable challenges with grace and resilience. You have the power to shape your inner world, to choose your response, and to create a life that isn't just lived, but truly sings with purpose and meaning. The journey is never ending, and that's the beautiful part, because it means there's always more to learn, more to grow into, and more opportunities to craft the magnificent masterpiece that is your life. Thank you for joining me on this exploration today. Until next time, stay wise, stay brave, and keep seeking that beautiful, meaningful life.